Hello, everyone, and welcome back to AIML Innovations channel. We are joined again by Executive Chairman Tim Daniels, who on the previous video shared his origins and how he got involved with the company. And also making their debut today is CEO Randy Duguay. How are you doing, Randy?
Really good. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad to have you guys on. So first off, Randy, can you give a little more about your experience and your background? Because this isn't like your first rodeo. You've been involved with a lot of projects.
Sure. I have, and so I have an extensive background in technology. I have a number of degrees in engineering and business, and I worked at TELUS Communications and TELUS Health Solutions, and I also worked with many different world partners in new product commercialization activities. And left TELUS in 2012, and since then have been an entrepreneur and partnered up with other strong resources. Bruce Matichuk, who's not here with us today, to really build out a team of capabilities to address this incredible growing area of innovation in artificial intelligence.
Wonderful. How have you been enjoying your time as CEO of AIML?
I'm enjoying it. In fact, I would say that my time as CEO has been completely linked with Tim Daniels, and I just met Tim probably going on about a year and a half ago, and it's fantastic to be a part of an organization that can make investments in the people and the companies that are going to frankly change the world. And you need a really strong team of characters. And so, working with Tim has been really fantastic, because there's a lot of dynamics in both addressing the build of a company, as from both an operational standpoint as well as from a funding and strategic management standpoint. So, so it's been fantastic to build out this team and to work with Tim on that too.
All right. Can one of you guys decide to break down what AIML does into simple language so everyone can easily understand? You're obviously using artificial intelligence and machine learning, but can you explain that in a little bit simpler language?
Yeah. Do you want me to do that, Tim, or do you want to start?
Yeah, no, I definitely want you to do that, Randy.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, for sure. So firstly, AI stands for artificial intelligence, and ML stands for machine learning. So many people are frankly just getting introduced to some of these kind of lingo and terms, but they've actually been around for decades now. What's fascinating about this area is that while the topics and the research and the new kinds of solutions that are being created has never been a greater time than today. And so these are still very early days on what we'll call the intelligence systems. And for our key focus, digital health is one area, and we have competencies that can address other sectors or industries. But you really have to have strengths and competencies around where does data come from? How do you clarify the questions that systems can solve and address and be available for interaction? There's been a lot of discussion around this idea of AI replacing or eliminating jobs. Frankly, it's just changing jobs and it's making it better. And so for companies like ours, we're really focused on what we'll call applied artificial intelligence. And so working with organizations and people to make sure that whatever intelligent systems we bring to bear, that it actually is addressing a purpose. And so in digital health, which is this, over $250 billion market opportunity, we are really focusing on that kind of future-oriented system design that is making it easier for people to interact. And so, that's kind of just a top level discussion on artificial intelligence.
Wonderful. Tim, is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No, it's a beautiful description of what it's all about. I think from a layman's standpoint is, Randy understandably can get fairly deep in the weeds on this topic, because it's something he's lived and breathed now for a decade or more. I come from the layman's background, and for me, understanding artificial intelligence and machine learning, and oftentimes those terms get misused or or intertwined, and people don't really understand the difference between them. And artificial intelligence is actually the bigger concept, and it is the idea of creating intelligent machines that can simulate human thinking and behaviors, whereas machine learning is actually a subset of artificial intelligence that allows a machine to learn from data without being specifically programmed to interact with that data. So it has the ability to adapt. And that's very, very important, because that's very applicable to what HealthGauge is doing with their technology.
Either of you guys willing to give a real world example of it being used, like an industry where, like, hey, this is what they were doing before, this is how it significantly helped it?
Well, for sure. And there's many different areas we can look at. In fact, one of the things we use as a metaphor, and I use a lot of metaphors in our system, kind of solutions design, is what I call the Uber metaphor. And I love the Uber metaphor because you can break it down in really simple terms. And digital health, as one industry, is going through this kind of transformation of the Uber metaphor. And here's what it looks like. So we start off as individuals, and we are in a current state. And so in Uber, we are at a place and we want to get to another place. The analogy is this: we exist in a current health state, and we can be, and oftentimes, depending on our service, can be motivated to be in a different health state. And so the thing that's fascinating is that if we behave and understand how our behaviors interrelate to our physiology, so our how blood moves, how we're breathing, our weight, and all these things that impact on us on a day-by-day basis. If we understand where we are today and the potential problems that we face if we don't change, we can be motivated to arrive at a better destination. So the Uber metaphor is really fantastic as an example, because part of what we need to do is we need to collect all this information from different and disparate sources, but it has to be high quality. So when you look at an Uber, where all the assets are, but the assets are both objects and data being the fundamental core. And so with HealthGauge, what we're really doing is we're assembling that core quality data to identify where are you, and then we're using machine intelligence to help address and help us understand that state, and then to connect that with care providers, gives us the option to connect with care providers, and then to walk through getting from A to B, which is positive health outcomes and reduced costs. There's been so much attention on acute care, which is like, what do you do after you're sick? And very little on this whole idea of how can we optimize the human interaction on a day-by-day basis. And so the opportunity today is really to transform using these data sources in a far faster and more productive way.
Wonderful. I'd never heard of the Uber metaphor. Thank you for that. That's a really interesting tidbit. So do you guys want to jump into the demo now?
Yeah, and just really quickly on the device, you'll notice on the back there's two pads, and so those are actually stainless steel, and that captures the electrocardiogram signal. And then, like all of these smart devices, you see Apple and others, you'll see these LEDs in the center, and what they're doing actually is they're injecting photons into the wrist, and so it's a green light. Green light reflects off of the blood, and it gets recreated as a digital pulse signal. And so we use these signals as fully digitized to calculate a number of things. And so right now, virtually every device is really throwing all of that away. And so it's really valuable source information. So I'll show you the application. And all right, so what you're looking at here is, and this is, so this is basically the same thing you would see if we were gonna, you put the device up and show you. So we actually will activate by, taking a measure, and there's a pad on the outside. So it's a device that you have to kind of hold for a few seconds, and it creates an electron flow and you get the signal capture. So this is the mobile application interface. And before I do the demo, I just want to make sure we're really clear on the core assets of this case example. It includes a device, a mobile application, Android and Apple based, online applications where we can provide for interfaces for different kinds of roles and individuals, such as end users and family health professionals, clinicians, and researchers, which is a really important group. And then underlying all of that is the artificial intelligence and machine learning based system. Because we're not just a data aggregator, we actually will qualify all of that data and then actually use really powerful computing systems to do analysis of the existing capture as well as predictive material going forward. So those are the assets. So what I'm showing here is a combination of the device capture to the mobile application. And one of the things I really want to highlight is this is only about health and wellness. Many applications are just really providing just core information and graphs. This actually is a tool that will do much more than that. So we have information on blood pressure, distance and step tracking, and variability, which is related to stress, sleep monitoring, which uses the accelerometer, the activity tracking. So we have sleep monitoring capability. And we've also included what's known as a body mass index BMI-based weight scale in combination, because the key things that people are interested in that addressing include weight, diabetes, cardiovascular interest, hypertension, and how they might get well. So we thought it would be really important to be able to have this much broader based capability on BMI weight scales plus physiology. So here's the demo. So when I take the data capture, this is just a walkthrough to start on a little bit of the animation. We're just stepping through these different selectors that people can look at and start tracking on. So now we're going to stop here on this example and show the heart rate data capture. So this is, I'll just simulate this. I would be taking this capture. It's using the LED to replicate the blood rushing through the veins. And so this is, again, fully digitized. And those signals are actually really important. You see the little bump on the side, that's known as the diacritic notch. It really indicates what's going on with the heart. Now the second example here, again, now this is the simultaneous electrocardiogram and digital pulse capture, stabilizing. And what this is showing, and many people have never seen these kinds of solutions, but we're the only one I've seen that does this kind of work in the full capture of real time of the electrocardiogram and the digital pulse. And so these signals together actually say something. So the electrons actually arrive at the wrist before the pulse does. And so there's all these other kinds of biometric information that we actually can develop and extend into blood pressure analysis. Other things are in pulse wave velocity, mean average time, systolic index, which you can use to relate to your mortality. And we can take this physiological information. And the other really important thing that we do with it is we can tag. And so let's say whatever thing I'm wanting to manage, I might have pain events, I might have diabetic issues, I might be taking medications. In fact, I was using this case example of kidney stone, where you have these diverse things you might be taking as medications. To associate all of these things, your behavioral things that you're doing with your physiology, and then to have that ability for the system to support you and to connect with care providers in supporting you, are frankly opportunities that have never existed quite like this ever before. And so this is really the power of the solution, and we're really going to continue to build on that so we can have the underlying AI infrastructure actually do additional analysis to help us over time.
Wow. Okay. First off, that's the first watch-based ECG I've seen that has been anywhere near accurate. You can actually see the P wave and the QRS complex and the T wave and everything. And it does really seem like a total package. And where you guys are really coming through here is, as you had said, other companies will measure your pulse and everything, but you guys aren't dumping the data. That's like
No.
the big key. You guys are using this data. It's the
Right.
key part of the whole thing. You're using it and you're analyzing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Tim, do you have anything else you would want to add on this?
No, Randy does a great job with that. I think
Yeah.
the other key aspect is that we are hardware agnostic. We do have our branded version of the wrist wearable, but the wheelhouse, what we do is what Randy was just showing. It's the aggregation and the analysis of this data and bringing forward, some meaningful, actionable, immediate, usable data that the healthcare provider and the wearer and so on can all make some sense of very quickly. And we are going through the process over the course of this year to make sure that our back end software works with all the major hardware providers out there.
It's really true. Yeah, that's really, really good point, Tim, to raise. Because when we started, this company, and again, digital health, and we could get into any number of other sectors. I mean, the key thing is to know how you build the competencies and qualify the data sources to address a question. And in the AI world, the underlying black box system is actually the question answering machine. That's what it's actually called. And so for us, we're significantly focused on, and what you're seeing here, applications, and but the thing you're not really seeing is this piece here. This is the thing that becomes the question answering machine. And so we really are not fussed about the wearable, although we're fussed about the wearable to the point that we must know and have good quality of it. And that's why I wanted to show you that example, because you couldn't buy these things. In fact, even today, if you buy some of these high quality devices, they are not actually doing this work in what we're doing from a business case perspective and addressing the problem of helping people actually get healthier. And so the wearable, Tim's point is dead on. We actually had a major, like international, and I can't mention who it is, wearable tech company, like it's broad-based ecosystem company, reached out to us, interested in our full platform solution. And we're happy to do those calls because we want to put our solution right on those devices. Because as long as we can capture that information, we can do the physiology to behavioral tagging, our systems work. And so the people that want to work with us then become the health coaches, the clinical professionals. So the driver of the Uber metaphor of the digital health world actually are all these other amazing high quality health professionals, great diversity of talent, now tapping into these systems. And it's going well beyond telehealth. So they must be working with organizations like ours in how that system is actually providing more context in answering questions. So it's not about that device. And so we're absolutely going to be doing everything with as many providers as possible.
So this has been a very informative presentation. So I also do want to say, if anyone has any questions, don't be afraid to reach out. I'm sure both these guys would love to answer any question you guys have. But yeah, any last words?
The only other thing, Tim, you and I talk about a lot about this stuff is AIML as the investment organization and the strategic management organization. We're working on making additional investments, and so digital health as one sector actually has a number of opportunities, and so it's really broad right now. So there's this amazing opportunity to actually start bringing in aligned competencies to really expand on the value that AIML is bringing. So that's that. And then Tim, I know you'll elaborate on that as well in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, this has been a great informative video. It's really exciting. I'd love to get into some more stuff, but we've already got about 30 minutes.
All right.
But all right. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you everybody for watching. Again, any questions at all, don't be afraid to shoot them to us. Hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.